Recording in progress. Coming to you live from a hot air balloon. Market Vitals, HFR, Mistrade, Matt Davio.
Hot air balloon with the man behind the curtain. It's all Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, we live in the Wizard of Oz world. And Matt, it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day.
Hey,
he got his head cut off, I guess, St. Valentine back in 429 AD. I don't know. I read a little bit of history on it, but I wanted to bring in a little, let me share a little positive vibes here. I had a couple good rabbit holes that I found. Whoops. And I wanted to share, if I could share, if you'd let me share. Still can't share. Trying to share. Sharing is caring. Caring is sharing. Here we go. And coming out of the gates, first of all, let's go to Coach Prime. Let's not take anything for granted. Today ain't promised and tomorrow can't be earned. The present is a gift from God, but we meander around like someone owe us something. Let's live, love, forgive, bless, encourage, motivate, listen to others intently, aspiring to help.
Hoping they got some cute female.
Great message. Whoa. Matt, I liked it. I liked Coach Prime's message. And on Valentine's Day, let's not forget the world's first unvaccinated dating service launches in Hawaii. You knew it was coming. I wonder if it'll be a publicly traded company, because that's something I'd like to IPO on. Anyway, but then
you got a limited field of participants for sure.
Matt, I found this website called Political Calculation.
But how do they know you're not vaccinated? You have to show up. Like, I don't have a vax card, so
yeah, I'm not sure how they do it.
How do they validate?
Blood test involved? I don't know. Man, I wanted to share this though, and this was from Political Calculations. It's a Facebook share that they shared, and I'm going to talk political calculations in another segment here that we'll do price discovery on. And it's from Tracy Pierce from November of 2020. Tell me something nice. He answered her with an equation. I don't even know what those are. I think the M is mass. I don't know what the PS is. Anyway, this equation
kind of looks like a VM, so I don't even know if it's an M.
Yeah, this equation of Dirac, the most beautiful equation in physics, it describes the phenomena of quantum connection, which alleges that two separate systems interact with each other over a certain period of time and then separate. We can describe them as two different systems, but they will already exist as one unique system. What happens to one will continue to affect the other, regardless of the distance between them. It's called quantum intertwining or quantum connection. Two particles that were at some point connected remain connected forever, even if they are light years apart. This is what happens to two people when they're connected, but we humans call love. Matt, I think it also happens. I'm not going there. Anyway, let me stick with political calculations so we can get to some price discovery. Again, a great rabbit hole, this seriously first iteration format of websites, right? When I looked at this, this is like a first iteration, Web 0.0. Anyway, they shared Campbell's condensed tomato soup unit price per can. Something happened in 1975-ish, Matt, 1974-ish.
Yeah, inflation happened.
And this chart is a perfect example of it. Soon we'll all only be able to afford a can of soup. The soup line gets longer. That's got to be good for Campbell stock. Right now, $1.23 per can. And amazingly, man, when you look at this, you know, when for 100 years, the thing was 10 cents a can, 12 cents a can. Like, if you look at that chart and don't think something is amiss in our generation, I think you're blind. That's all I can tell you, is you're blind. Anyway.
Yeah, Campbell soup, I have it here teed up for you. It's been as high recently, and at the end of 22 of $58, which has been kind of the high for, we spiked to 20 back when COVID started. So that was the COVID high, which I would think is a defensive stock, right? So now we're back to defensive range ish. We fell down and then came back up because people had all the free money. So they were buying McDonald's instead of Campbell's.
Or they were buying, like Wolfgang Puck soup,
Right.
for
Right.
$7 a can.
Annie's organic, right?
Right. Instead of $1.23.
Yeah. I don't know. It pays almost a 3% dividend. So again, you're better off just buying treasuries at
2-year treasury or 2-year yields today, 4.5 again. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's a good lead in, because again, we're not making new highs here, but we are back to, to the upside. And really this never, I want to start right with the long-term chart so people can see all this bullishness that we have in equities that's been going on. And we drove the interest rates on the 2-year down to 4, right? We talked about that. Now, today, we're all the way back up to 450. And we bought that just 2 weeks ago. Okay. So we talked about that live on the show. And now we're screaming to a new high of this move. But the old high is still 470. But I think you're going to see 5 on this. And again, regardless of what the market does today, I just don't see, again, everybody's so bullish right now. Everybody's bullish on the retail side, and they're just going to bag them again. They're going to bag them and tag them, I think. Again, I've had a target of 4,300. You keep calling about it. Maybe we get to 43 and that's it, but I don't see us going much more. I really don't still.
No, and in fact, I would much rather see them rip there. Like it make it be a fast move.
Yeah, but
I actually kind of thought we might have done that. That rip after the number, they broke them, and then they ripped them. I was like, wow, that was.
This
insane.
was February 2nd. Today we're February 14th, so 12 days, just 12 days, and that's only about 7-8 trading days. That's a huge move, Bob. You don't see interest rates move like that, and the dollar hasn't really responded. That gold made another new low today, so some things are lining up, some things aren't. We're just kind of in the middle of this chop, this churn. And it just feels like they're trapping them over and over again. They're, like even your mindset is nobody's going to crack this thing. Nobody's going to crack this thing until they do. And then I think it's going to be the type of thing when it cracks. I think I can see us going, I can see the SPOOs trading down 400 points. So right. I see a big move coming. I don't see it to the upside. I do see a big move coming. I'll just leave it there.
Right on. It's,
and again, I just don't see us getting over this 43.28. And so, okay, I'll give you another 200 points. That's 5%. That's the risk, I think, to the upside right now.
Right on. All right, let me share.
I just don't see us getting up there.
Let me share this breaking news. Again, this market it discounts, it shrugs everything off.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes, everything.
Chuck Costello sharing a breaking report. Norwegian intelligence confirms Russia has begun to deploy tactical vessels armed with nuclear weapons in the Baltic Sea. This is the first time such a deployment has happened in 30 years. And I'm Len O'Connor. Unbelievable. 30 years. The saber rattling it's off the charts right now. Man, back in the 80s, had this type of thing happened, we'd have been down 5%.
Yeah.
On this type of saber rattling.
Yeah.
And right now, people are like, yeah, whatever. Until something happens, until a bomb drops, like nobody, it's unbelievable. The what do they call it, Matt? Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
And speaking of it, this in 8 hours ago from Ohio, chickens are dying. So if it wasn't bad enough that the egg factories were burning, now the chickens are just dying. They're not even laying.
No, there's been some, scare articles about, avian flu has crossed over from chickens to mammals, birds, wolverines, from birds to wolverines to bears are now cougars are dying in Montana. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Yellowstone. But the Dutton boys are out at the ranch and they're finding dead animals and nobody cares.
Here's more breaking news. Many in Michigan calling for tighter gun laws after the catastrophe yesterday at Michigan State. Yet, what's the use of having tougher gun laws if you don't even enforce the ones that are in place. I mean, it's a clown.
Amen.
We live
Amen. Clown world. Amen.
We live in a complete clown world.
Why isn't this prosecutor being lynched for letting the frickin' guy go from previous gun charges? I mean, if you want to talk about, because this is what drives me crazy about when this happens. First of all, it's a shame. It's shitty. It sucks for all those parents that have kids up there that have to deal with this. And in a woke world, they blow it out of proportion, of course. And I'm not saying every life is sacred, for sure. You know, I believe that, and you believe that. But this guy's a wacko. Like, where's the prosecution keeping wackos off the streets? You had him in custody, put him in jail, put him in a mental hospital. Oh, wait, we don't have any mental hospitals. So stop blaming the tool, the gun, and start blaming the people that are, as you said, not enforcing these laws over and over again.
Amen. Spoken well. Now, let me share this. This again from the Fed. This is from the Fed. PDF from the Fed, definitely Fed. And this was a probability of U.S. recession predicted by the Treasury spread. We've shared similar things to this before. But right now it's at 57%. It's basically, the article is saying that every time you get over 40, you're pretty much locked. Over 50 for sure is a lock, 100%er. There's a little bit of a lag here, as you've seen. I don't know. Again, we're so disconnected from the obvious fundamentals, and the market just continues to go higher.
Well, it's not going higher. I mean, the NASDAQ's green, the SPOs are barely red. Tesla's through the roof, which all these things just scream to me retails and, is buying every single little dip. And when I say dip, I mean, we got, first of all, we opened up before the CPI number hit today, we were trading 41.65 and we're at 41.43. So we're red based on that, right? So the information, but not even 0.5%. Now we did trade all the way down to 41.03, but no new prices here. We haven't gotten over 42.10. We haven't got below 40.50. That is now 3 weeks long. And we had the news. And again, I said this, the expected news, the St. Valentine's Day massacre that I'd said 2 weeks ago, and I called it off a couple days ago because everybody was on it. Everybody's on it.
Crowded trades. Hey, Matt, we talked about on the way in, as we talked about yesterday or the day before, the Merck has launched daily expirations for calls and puts on micros in the SPOs and the NASDAQ. Here's a little caveat, though, that we talked about. They're 100 handles wide. Mm-hmm. So right now you can buy the 4,200 call for expiration today or the 4,100 put. It's a pretty great setup for people that like selling calls and puts.
Yeah.
Because, give me the percentage on 100 points. And what is the percentage move for 100 points right now at 4,200?
Well, it's 2.5%. That's pretty wide when this thing's
it's incredibly wide. Like
when this thing's only been trading 30 or 40.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And so the retail are sucking these up and they're like, yours. We're trying to figure out the volumes on these, have not found those yet. But we'll share hopefully tomorrow when we figure out the volumes that are actually being traded.
Lee, if you can find out what the open interest is on all these end of day options, that are trading, I'd be curious. Like, go find us where we can find all the open interest. Just like you have a commitment of traders once a week. There's got to be a commitment of traders daily on these dailies, right? But I don't know where to find them.
Well, even just the volume, like I
don't trade them, so I don't know. I haven't looked into it. So if you're trading these without understanding those numbers, you're flying blind, I guess is what I'm saying. And you might want to turn on your lights.
Well, Matt, the first thing I learned about options is they're for pussies. All right, options are for pussies.
Buying them is definitely, yes.
Wait a second, I take that back. Sorry, tasty trade world. Trade the outrights. You have an opinion, buy or sell a future, for God's sakes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the second thing I learned, though, was that options were made to be sold. Right. The option is MetLife, right? The seller they're writing the insurance policy to you and they just collect. They have the actuary, they know the risk, and they collect and collect and collect, and you keep buying and buying and buying, thinking you're going to get the home run, And that's just not how it works. They were made to be sold. Anyway, Monty Python believes every sperm is sacred, Matt, and by 2050 there will be no more, as we shared before. So I guess that is true too.
Yeah.
Train derailments now great again, as one went off the rails. And by the way, I've read a couple other statistics. It happens way more than is ever publicized.
Yeah.
But something in me thinks that train derailments are going to be the next egg factory burning narrative that doesn't get talked about.
I mean, just the pace of horrible news right now is astounding. Just astounding. Between between the derailments, campus shooting, I mean, I think I'm becoming numb. Are you? And I've always been numb as a trader. Like I can compartmentalize these tragedies, but now they're coming fast and furious, and I've got to wonder what it does to people, who don't do what we do and aren't as crass. And I mean that,
there's no doubt that the speed of the news cycle psychologically is incredibly detrimental to even you and I who think that we can compartmentalize it. I don't think we're nearly.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Is it does start to affect. Really the last 3 weekends now, I've absolutely gone sans device.
Enlighten me.
Well,
sans device.
I turn it off Friday night.
Yeah, me too, dude. Me too.
Turn off my cell phone. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't watch sports because I did, but stay away from the computer and come back on Sunday night at 3:30. Just I'll see where they open and try to stay off just the news cycles because they're so fast and furious and they're so, to your point, like you got both sides, gun control, pro gun, all going off on each other. And again, it's not the tool, it's the freaking people on both sides. The prosecution's at fault, the crazy man's at fault. I mean, the luck of the draw is at fault. But let's not blame it on one thing. It's complicated.
Yeah. As with most things, way more complicated than anybody wants to give it credit for.
Yeah.
Let me just share one thing here. Anything else jumping out at you?
Well, the dollar again spiked up. We got up to 103.50 again. It's kind of hanging out here. It's not making new highs today. It's not jumping out at me. I'm just pointing out kind of what I look at. Gold did trade down to 1850, which is a new, I believe, a new low on the move. So gold continues, and it spiked initially off the CPI because higher. Again, for the people that want to trade fundamental, if they see higher inflation, they buy gold, right? But that's never been the reason to buy gold, and I've talked about that. So don't get caught in that trap because that's never been the reason to buy gold. The only reason to buy gold is because you think your government's going to fail. That's it. And we're not there yet. They're failing, but we're not there for the masses for that to happen. So, gold going lower just tends, we're down $125 from 1975. We hit 1852. We're at 1865. Tesla's up $10 today because nobody's selling cars, but I guess.
Why don't you bring it up? Why don't you bring it up? Because we've shared that a lot. And Max Payne for the call writers, Max Payne.
Well, I mean, not really. I mean, if you're selling calls today, you're fine. I mean, don't forget this thing just sold off from 214 down to 185. So it was off $30, which was, 15%. And now it's, doing the halfback thing. So I don't see this as necessarily a new leg bullish until we take out a new high, but we did trade up to 206 here today. I think 206 or so on Elon, one of Elon Musk's companies. And again, traded, I think it traded 206, right? But again, you pull back this chart. Don't forget, we were just 100 1 month ago. 1 month ago on January 9th, we were 101. So you've had a double And again, I don't see it getting over 225, 230. So maybe it's got one last push up into there, just a trap, because that is the 61.8, and that is the last high. So I suppose we can go up one more little push, but it is shocking to me that on a negative day, really, in the negative news, Tesla doesn't care at all. It's totally oblivious. So
Nobody cares. It's
nobody cares
unreal.
about
And,
anything.
we had this chat on the way in, Matt. And I don't know the answer to it because it seems to me that there'd be more negative price structure, and we don't have it right now.
No,
We do not have negative price structure on the daily, on the weekly, for me, and the work that I do. And part of me thinks that unless you get some giant money to take on the don't bet, there's got to be a war of the big positions. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be some.
but I do think, I think longer term money can sit in a. It's not like we're not blowing off to new highs, so they can sell as you go higher here and get shorter as you go higher, right? And the pros have no problem doing that. It's just, to me, at what level do they puke? And that's 43.50. We're not there. So it's only another 5% to the upside when you look at the SPOOs. NASDAQ, I guess you can get to 13.3 or whatever that number was up in there. And we're just kind of in this no man's land. It's just kind of until it kind of decides that it's done breaking. But, if I look at a longer term chart, longer term meaning just, going back a year, let's look at a year chart on the SPOOs. And the thing I'll notice is, 4,200 happens to be the top of that value zone,
Right.
too, right? So I'm just pointing it out because all these, there are things that say sell, and then this is out there 43.27, and I guess you could say buy also.
Yeah, let me just share this standard deviation modeling here.
I'm not buying. I'll happily sell at 4,300, but I'm not heavily leaning one way or the other. I haven't been for 3 weeks. It's been a very trying time because I'd be better off on vacation just because I'm doing nothing anyways.
Right on. Are you seeing this white chart, S&P?
Yep.
And what I want to point out is the slope of this upper momentum level, and it's kicked up, and you have to respect that. We had a little kick up here back in these 3 weeks here in August, but they couldn't maintain it. But if you look from the COVID lows here, they kept this slow positive the whole way up. So this is just the very beginning of it. That doesn't mean that we do this again. All I'm saying is if you are married to this idea that we're going to fall apart with this chart structure, I think right now for sure you're leaning the wrong way. I mean, this thing really should at least try to exhaust itself up into this double top, which would also be into the collar on the weekly basis. And I just got to tell you, I have saved myself so much money trading hogs when, in this case, let's say this was hogs and everybody's bearish. I'm like, if it's so bearish, why do we have positive slope on the standard deviation modeling? And why are we in up momentum on the weekly? Those two things shouldn't be the same. So I got to find some sort of weakness that is jumping out at me to dissuade myself from the positive lean that I think is in the chart right now.
Well, again, this is not a chart of trade, but I bring it up just to illustrate a point. This is an intraday chart from the CPI at 5:30 to present. That's a lot of moves there, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like if I showed you this chart and you're like, wow, that's tradable. Is that like been the last week? No, that's been today.
That's the 15 second.
That's the
chart.
15-second chart. So each bar here is a quarter of a minute. I mean, it starts right here, right? Here's where we were into the CPI. We spike up, go down, then go ripping through the roof to a new high. Take them down, take them up, take them down. And this is the open here. 6:30. We put in the day low. 6:30. Then we put in the day high by 7:12. Since then, we're just floating to the right. And again, we're making somewhat higher lows and lower highs. So you're making a triangle here To do what? I don't know. Which way are we going to go next? I have no idea.
Yeah, neither do I. And that's key. There's nothing wrong with not knowing. I don't know.
So therefore you go to the sidelines too, is what you should
Either
do.
go to the sidelines, or if you have to play, if you're a degenerate like I am, you start buying the wings. Buy some, make the insurance company money in a smaller way. Hey, look at Frank. Hey, Frank and me ready to rock, paper, scissors. I keep saying every time I put in a number, it changes my broadcaster. Anyway, Frank, Frank is not good at rock, paper, paw, to be quite honest, because he's like who throws rock all the time? Homer Simpson?
Vinny's really good with the rock, paper, paw.
Rock, paper, paw. It's paw every time.
And he'll knock you out with that paw.
And Lee, that's why
by the way,
Aragon.
another thing that's not bullish for the equity markets is oil. Oil had another run today. It dipped down to 77 into the number, and then it ripped back. So I bring this up and let me bring up a chart here. This is today's chart just on oil. Everything just the buyers come in for everything. And they came in here. I mean, look at how hard, they came in. I mean, right at 630, right on the equity open, buyers came in and they took it all the way up to 79.50, $2. I mean, that's a huge move. And then the rest of the day, as we come into the close here, oil's closing here at 11, it's done. It just dies. So if you miss the move, then it's a very difficult market to day trade.
Yeah,
because
no doubt.
Because this move, like if you're a day trader, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to sell the rally. Well, maybe you sold in here. Well, it ripped your face off again. It paused here after the first half hour and then just continued up. So, I say warning, be careful out there and again, this thing could rip higher, could rip lower. I don't know. I don't know about it. It's a frustrating market for sure, but this too shall pass,
Yeah, there's no doubt. There ain't no doubt about that. All right, I think that's all we got. Happy CPI day. CPI. Winter still has its grip here in Central Oregon. I'm a little bit frustrated with that.
It's cold, man.
I'm not sure when I moved here in 2014, if this was the winter that we would have had in 2014, I'm pretty sure I don't think I'd have stayed.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have stayed.
I think the first 3 or 4 years I lived here in 2000 to 2004, they were nice winters.
This winter has sucked. Official. First world problems. First world problems. All right, that's all we got. Please visit marketvolatile.io. Please go to amazon.com and buy yourself some Shrimp Mojo. Become a dealer. Join our dealer network. We'll show you how to work an alleyway. An off-ramp from a highway is a good place to deal rub. Parking garages, another great place to be dealing. Dime bags of rub. Anyway, it's a profitable business. $25 a pound, and then you can sell. Hey, with inflation, I think we can sell $12 ounces now. You do the math.
Oh, by the way, speaking of ounces, your Canopy Growth sold off from that 320 level that it put in just a week ago, all the way back down to 220. So if you're looking for, you're looking for a
30% haircut. Thank you very little.
A third gone in a week. 323 back here to 2.25.
It's actually not a bad. Listen, that sine wave has been solid down here at 2.25.
Yeah, the $2 range has held a bunch of times in this low back here of like whatever it was. Yeah, I mean it was down here like right around where it is, 209.
Mark, I thought the same thing. Couldn't even get to 420 where it's a natural sell.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't even get it. Got to 320. It's like I owe you a joint at 320. All right, that's it. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mark. Hasta la vista.